separately for treatment of each animal. And another contract for spay-neuter. So that budgeted amount, does that include all of these contracts, all of these added expenses that they are charging the animal shelter?
Yes, that's all inclusive.
That's all inclusive. Okay. This is probably not the time to discuss it, but to me that is unacceptable. And there's nothing more disgraceful than people that capitalize on animals. And for these vets to be making almost $150,000 a year for 20 hours of work, and then they charge additionally for spay-neuter, additionally for treatment, is not just disgraceful, it's an outrage. And we could do better.
That is not the case.
I've seen the foils, excuse me, I've seen the foils.
When Dr. Siegel is working during the day and he performs the spay-neuter, he does not charge us a fee for the spay-neuter.
So you have no contracts? You have no contract with vets for spay-neuter?
Yes, we have multiple contracts for spay-neuter. If his contract for spay-neuter existed before we entered into the contract for his services, his on-site services. If he comes in on an off day to do, and he's going to do spay-neuter, he would be entitled to charge us, and on other hours, he would utilize his services under the other.
If we had an on-staff vet, we would have to pay that. Of course he has to come back and charge.
When he performs spay-neuters on staff, he's not charging us per cat for spay-neuter.
Okay, so but you're saying when he comes in, then he charges?
No, it's we're going to utilize him, say, on a Saturday when he's not performing his other contractual duties. And if for some reason we wanted to spay 40 cats on a Saturday, and we called him in, we could call him in under the other contract, and we would pay him, not his daily rate, we could pay him to do the spay-neuters. If we did, we have other vets that are under those same types of contracts that do spay-neuter off-site. They charge us for our spay-neuter.
So we're paying a lot of money. That's the bottom line.
We're spaying and neutering a lot of animals.
Okay. How many cats were spayed last week?
I don't have those numbers, and this is not the form.
Okay, so maybe tonight, because I'm expecting that 100 are being spayed a week. So how many contracts do we have then with the veterinary staff? How many contracts do they hold? As far as getting back to this community research assistant, I'm trying to figure this out because I think it would be very simple to just identify these titles individually instead of lumping them into community research assistant. That covers, you're saying, let's say for instance, the adoption liaison, because it looks like there's a position here for a rescue liaison, a volunteer manager, and there would only be 2 other positions that would fall under that community research assistant.
Right, but to the extent that they are testable title, you can't give that title. You can't hire a person until they give that title.
So these will change, and there's only one person that continues to have this as a title. These titles will change.
That they can change. That particular title is a very general title, and the rescue liaison falls under it. Civil service ultimately determines whether or not a position will be of a particular type of civil service position, whether it will be a competitive, whether it will be a non-competitive. We put in requests for certain positions. Sometimes it can take civil service months or longer to determine what category it will fall in, whether it will be competitive. However, in the interim, the description of the position falls under this generic, we can hire the person.
Okay, but Ms. Murray just said that these positions are not non-competitive. Now you just said, isn't it up to the town to decide?
Up to civil service.
It's up to civil service to decide if these are
And
going to be tested
there is
positions.
currently no title for rescue liaison anywhere in the state civil service system. So they will, in their good time, we put in our request, they will make their decision. But meanwhile, we need the service performed. Community services assistant, the title that we're using is a very general term, and what they do falls under that general description. And it allows us to provide the service.
Okay. And in regards to the shelter salaries, hired from the shelter, including 2 assistant directors. And from my experience, it was very obvious, well, from my experience, Regina, thank God, ran the shelter. The director wasn't there, one assistant director wasn't allowed on the property, and one assistant director was really out of sight. So I would like to know, why do we still have 2 assistant directors in this budget? It's not necessary.
They're budgeted in case we make a determination that an assistant director is going to be hired.
Okay, so when will that determination be made? Because I know to hire a director, there was a national search involved and whatnot.
That's a personal determination that will be made.
Okay, and it hasn't been made as of yet.
Right.
Okay,
But
thank
you have to budget, you have to put it in the budget, so if there's a determination down the line, you can do it.
And then if they don't fill these positions, which in this kind of economy, we don't need 2
Well,
assistant
they're
directors.
vacancies.
Their vacancies, and that money will then go into that.
That goes into that fund balance that we spoke about earlier to augment future employees.
And how do we find that balance?